Hey guys, hopefully everyone had a good weekend. We're gonna go over your review packets, or papers or whatever. If you have any questions, definitely jump on to the meet today, and we can talk about questions and stuff like that. Your test is tomorrow, and then I'm gonna try to have everything graded so that you know if you want to retake. If you didn't retake the first test, then you can retake this one. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do one per quarter. Um, that's what I'd like to do. Now, I didn't really tell you guys that ahead of time, so we can talk a little bit, depending on your grade on this one. If you need to, um, retake it and stuff like that. But for the most part, I'm going to do it the exact same way. Send you the paper, you send it back. Make sure you show all your steps, and then should be good to go. So, let's talk about your review paper. First one here, they wanted you to graph it. So we know that the y-intercept here is -1. This one's in slope-intercept form for us, which is a big deal. So that means that this is my slope. This is my y-intercept, so I'm going to start at -1. And then my slope's -4, so that means go down 4, over to the right 1. And then I'll do it one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, over 1. And so your line should look something like that. All right. For these graphing ones, I will have them, X, Y axis kind of thing like this going on. All right. Number 2, which of the following is an equation of a line that goes through those 2 points? So if they give me 2 points, let's see what we got. 2, 3, -1, -12. If I want to write an equation in slope-intercept form, the first thing I need is the slope. So I'm going to go y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That's going to give me -15 over -3, which is going to simplify to 5. And then, remember, you can pick any point you want. I'm going to pick that one because it has positives. Y equals mx plus b. The y value here is 3. The slope is 5. The x is 2, and we don't know b. 5 times 2 is 10. Minus 10 from both sides. And the y-intercept here is -7. So the equation we're looking for is y equals 5x plus -7. And that is our equation in slope-intercept form. Oh, can you see that? I'm getting a little bit of a glare. Where's that at? Right there. Boop. Let me see if this helps. Ooh, that might be too dark. Can you even see? Oh yeah, we're good. We're good. Doesn't really take the glare away that much. But yeah, we can go from there. All right, number 3. This person completed 30 community hours of service, and they do 2 hours every day. Write in a linear equation to represent the number of hours they have left. So remember the 2 things we need. We need a slope, we need a y-intercept. Well, they start with 30 hours. And then it says that they complete 2 a day. So if they're completing 2 a day, that means that we're doing 2 hours of community service. That means that my slope will be -2. Because it says how many they have left. We're talking about how many they have left. So that means we want to write it in terms of how much. Yeah, I think it's better with the light. All right, we'll try it. So my equation was y equals -2x plus 30. Anytime they ask you a question like this, we're looking for the rate of change. We're looking for our initial value, our starting point. Cool. Number 4 for the graph of the equation you wrote in, what does the y-intercept represent? Well, this is our initial value. So that would be the total hours of service that she starts with, the total beginning amount. It's definitely not hours left because it has to be the initial amount. Hours completed each day, that's the slope. Days it takes to complete 30 hours, we have no idea. That's not what 30 is, though. So definitely total number of hours. All right, equations of horizontal lines, vertical lines. I talked about this in class, like, until I was blue in the face. Horizontal line, slope is 0. The equation of a horizontal line is y equals a number. So like y equals 2, y equals 7, y equals negative 22. Vertical line, slope is undefined. The equation of this line is x equals a number. So somewhere in my notes I would have a really good section on here's the stuff about vertical lines, here's the stuff about horizontal lines. Here they want a horizontal line that goes through 5, negative 7. So if the y value is negative 7 at this point, then my y is just going to be y equals negative 7. So really, I'm testing that you know a horizontal line is really just an y equals that number. And if it goes to that point, you know to pick that y value. If it was a vertical line that goes through this point, it'd be x equals 5, right? All right. Number 6. We want a vertical line again, and we are looking at standard form. So if we want a vertical line that goes through the point 8, 6, I know the equation of that line already, just like I just said, is going to be x equals 8, because it's a vertical line. So, how do I make this say this? Well, there's an x in here. How many x's? Just one. So A would be 1. There is no y's, so I need to get rid of the y, so B would have to be 0. And the C on this side of the equal sign is going to have to be 8. So A would be 1, B would be 0, C would be 8 in that thing in standard form there. All right, number 7, write an equation in point-slope form. So, point-slope form, remember, we need a point, we need a slope. Well, they gave me this point is 2, 2. They did not give me the slope. So I had to pick another point on this line so I could use my slope formula. Now, I thought 0, 8 looked pretty good. That's what I picked. You can pick anything as long as it's a nice point. Once I have my 2 points, I can go y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And that's going to give me 6 over negative 2, which means my slope is negative 3. And then, I don't care which of these points you use. Probably the 2, 2, because that's the one they gave you, right? So remember that point-slope form is y minus y1 equals m times the quantity x minus x1. And remember, when we plug this in for x and y, it's going to turn them negative, because that's the opposite sign in this case. And my slope's negative 3. So y minus 2. My slope's negative 3. X minus 2. And that is my equation, just like that, in point-slope form. And I don't need to do anything else, just write the equation in point-slope form. Number 8, write an equation in point-slope form that passes through that point and has a slope of 6. It's going to be just like this one. So the y value is negative 1. So remember, that's going to change the sign here. That's going to be y plus 1. My slope that they gave me is 6. And then the x point is 4. So x minus 4. And there's that one in point-slope form. So I think I mentioned this in class, but I might have a little blurb about each of the forms that we talked about. Point-slope form, standard form, slope-intercept form, so that if I had a question on one of them while I'm working on my test, I can refer back to it in my notes. Maybe you just want to go through and highlight your notes, whatever those are. or whatever those look like. Maybe you want to rewrite them on a page that's like really good for just this test. That's up to you guys, but I would recommend having something to refer to. All right, number 9, they want the equation that goes through -7, 1 and -3, 9. And it looks like the answers are all in point slope. So again, I have points, I need a slope. So I'm going to go y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. 9 minus 1 is 8. Bam, bam, down here. -3 plus 7 is +4, which is going to give me a slope of 2. And then there's two choices because I don't know which point they're using. So this one would work. Y minus 1 equals 2 times the quantity x plus 7, opposite sign. Or, if we use this point, y minus 9 equals the quantity 2, x plus 3, and that one happens to be option D, so that was the right answer. On your actual test, I will not be giving you choices. So, yeah, you guys are you know, honors for a reason, and I don't think we need choices on our test. So either of those would be fine for an answer. All right, halfway done. Number 10, graph it. So if I wanted to graph that one, I see that it's in standard form. That means, boys and girls, I have two options. I could rewrite it in slope-intercept form, or I can find an x and y intercept. I'm going to do that. So x-intercept, y-intercept. Remember we said that finding these are really easy in standard form. If I want an x-intercept, the y is 0. So this whole term is just going to cancel out. And that would give me 4x equals -24. If I want a y-intercept, I know the x value is 0. And this whole thing is going to be 3y equals -24. And then those are real easy to solve from there. Divide by 4. Our x-intercept is -6. Divide by 3. Our y-intercept is -8. So this thing is going to have a, let's see if I can fit it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Y-intercept at -8. 4, 5, 6. And an x-intercept at -6. And so once you find those two things and show your work, just draw those 2 points and connect them. And that's what the graph should look like in standard form. Cool. Number 11 I thought was kind of tricky, actually. You have to reverse it. It says, write the equation in standard form. And they gave you the x and the y-intercept. So the x-intercept is 3. The y-intercept is 5. Now there are several answers, an infinite number of answers really, that you could have here. But if I thought about it, when I covered up the y and divided, x is going to give me 3. When I cover up the x and then divide, the y is going to give me 5. So I went with 15 for on this side. And I want y, if x is 0, how am I going to get a y-intercept of 5? Well, I would want to divide by 3, so this must be 3y. Right? Everybody see how that y-intercept would be divide by 3, y equals 5? And then I did the same thing but with x. So if I cover up the y, how do I get x to be 3? Well, I would want that to be a 5. Why? Because now if I divide by 5, x would equal 3. So that is an example of an equation that would work. Really, if you multiply, like for example, if I multiplied everything by 2 here, 10x plus 6y equals 30 would also be a solution for an equation that's in standard form that would have those x and y intercepts. And really I could multiply by anything and get different combinations. So As long as it kind of comes down to this one, that would be really good. Or, yeah, that's good. All right. Number 12. They wanted you to rewrite that in standard form. So a couple things about standard form that we need to remember. It has x and y on the same side. X has to go before y. It can't have a negative coefficient, and there are no fractions allowed. So we definitely have some problems. I can definitely get x and y on the same side. I subtract 1/9 x from both sides. So y minus 1/9 x equals 5. And then if I want to switch those, I have to make sure this is a plus sign, so that's going to turn negative. So negative 1/9 x plus y equals 5. So now it's all good except for that fraction part. And so I'm going to multiply the whole thing by the GCF, which is going to be 9, because that's the only fraction we have. So 9 times, actually I'm going to do negative 9, my bad. So I can get rid of the negative sign too. Because a negative times a negative is going to give me a positive x. So negative 9 times negative 1/9 is going to be positive 1x. Negative 9 times y is negative 9y. And negative 9 times 5 is negative 45. And that is option B in standard form. Cool. Number 13, x and y intercepts. Same thing that we did on number 10, except for this time we don't have to graph. So 9x minus 7y, negative 63. So x-intercept over here, y-intercept over here. On an x-intercept, the y is 0. So that's just going to give me 9x equals negative 63. For a y-intercept, the x is 0. Be careful here if you don't bam, knowing that's negative 7, because this is minus 7. That's going to be negative 7y equals negative 63. And then I'm just going to solve both. Divide by 9, and x equals negative 7. And over here, divide by negative 7, and y equals positive 9. So those are your x and y intercepts. X-intercept negative 7, y-intercept positive 9. Number 14, Derek has $20 to spend on used books. Hard books cost $5 each. Paperback books cost $2 each. Write an equation in standard form. What equation in standard form determines the number of books x hardcover and y paperback he can buy? So, all right. So here's the deal: if x is the hardbacks and y is the paperbacks, right? And they tell us that he has $20 to spend. So I'm definitely adding them because I could buy some of each, right? And I don't know anything about them, but I do know how much they each cost. So that's going to be my coefficient. All of these X hardback books cost $5 each. So if I bought 2 times 5 is $10 I'm spending. If I bought 3 times 5 is $15 I'm spending. Same thing with Y. So they each cost $2. So if I bought 4 paperback, then 4 times 2 is going to be $8 that I spend there. So that is my actual equation in standard form. 5x plus 2y equals 20. And then on 15 it says, which one could possibly be a solution? Select all that apply. Well, let's see. A is negative 215. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I don't think they can buy negative 2 hardback books. So that's not even a possibility, right? They're not going to like write 2 hardback books and sell them to them or something. That's weird. 0, 10. So if I plugged in 0 here and 10 here, would that get me to 20? Well, no hardback books would be 0. 10 paperbacks would be 20. And 0 plus 20 is definitely 20. So that one works out. So B is good. Let's try 2, 5. So if I plug in 2 for x, 2 hardbacks, 5 paperbacks, 2 times 5 is $10. 5 times 2 is $10. And last time I checked, 10 plus 10 is going to give me 20, so that would work too. Now D, again, I am not going to check D because it says I would have to buy 5 halves of a paperback book. And that is a different problem. Do I buy the first half of the book or the second half? Maybe the top, not the bottom? I don't know. Yeah, so obviously we're not going to buy half a book, so we don't need to worry about that. So yeah, B and C are both answers that would totally work in that situation. All right, 5 to go. Determine whether the lines are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. I love this one. So that one is in standard form, and this one is in slope-intercept form. And what are we even checking here, right? We are only looking at slopes. So this one, I know the slope, because it's in slope-intercept form, is -5. So I need to check the slope on this one to see what kind of lines these are. If they have the same slope, they're definitely parallel. If their slope is the opposite sign and flipped as a reciprocal, then I know they're perpendicular. And if it's neither of those things, then it's neither of those options. That's pretty easy. So let's put this in slope-intercept form and go from there. I'm going to minus 5x. That's going to give me 2y equals 14 minus 5x. And then I'm going to bam, bam. And then divide by 2. 14 divided by 2 is 7. -5 over 2, I'm just going to leave it -5 over 2. And then I can see down here, even though they're flipped, if you want to switch them, you can. The slope is -5 halves. So I check those slopes, -5, -5 halves. Not the same, not negative reciprocals. These lines are neither I before E except after C. That ain't right. Neither. Nope, it was right. E. Oh yeah, except for neighbor and way. Neither apparently falls in that camp, eh? I teach math in case you weren't sure. It's neither of those options. Cool beans. 17. Hopefully that makes sense, right? 17, which lines are parallel to the line they gave you? Select all of them. So this one, they wanted me to work my tail off, right? So first, we got to figure out what the line we're looking at is. So 8x plus 2y equals 7. I want to know about the slope of this line. So I'm going to put it in slope-intercept form. Minus 8x. 2y equals 7 minus 8x. Divide by 2. Y equals 7 halves minus 8 over 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So it looks like my slope is -4. So I want to know all the choices with a slope of -4 slope. I'm sorry, with the choices where the slope is -4. So I look at A here, and it's in point slope form, so that means the slope is the 4. It's +4. I have -4. Definitely not a parallel line because they're not the same. I look at B, and those are in slope-intercept form. So the slope is -4, which is the same as mine. So those are parallel lines. So B is good. C I can't tell by looking, so I'm going to have to do some math here in a second. Go down to D. Y equals -4x. That is in slope-intercept form. It has a y-intercept of 0. And its slope would be -4. So that one also is parallel to this one. So let's check C, and then we can get out of Dodge, right? 16x plus 4y equals 9. We'll rewrite this one in slope-intercept form just to make sure it doesn't have the same slope, or it does have the same slope. divided by 4. 9 over 4. 16 divided by 4 is 4x. Uh-oh, that one does have the same slope. So, all of those are parallel. B, C, and D are all parallel to the line that they gave us. Awesome. I like those. And remember, if we said they were perpendicular, their slopes would just be negative reciprocals. All right, number 18. I'm wearing out here. Write an equation in slope-intercept form of a line that passes through 6, negative 11, and it's parallel to the line y equals negative 2/3 x plus 12. All right, so if it tells me it's parallel, all I want is the slope. That tells me my slope over here is negative 2/3. That's all I'm going to take from that equation, and now I can write my y equals mx plus b and plug in stuff. So the y value is negative 11, slope's negative 2/3, the x is 6, and we don't know b. Negative 2/3 times 6 is negative 4. Add 4 to both sides, and b equals negative 7. So this line is going to be y equals negative 2/3 x plus negative 7. That line is parallel to this line and goes through that point. Now I will say, I've seen this a lot in my life, where people get down to their y-intercept and then they don't write the equation. Make sure you write the equation. That's what they're asking you to do. So that's the equation of line parallel to the first line. Now 19 is very similar. We're going to do the same thing, but this time it says it goes to the point 6, 6, and it's perpendicular to y equals 3/4 x minus 11. That's line V. And then it says that line W is parallel to line V and goes through negative 6, 10. Jeez, this is a crazy problem, huh? They want to know what line W is. All right. So we're going to have to start up here with line V, because to figure out line W, we need line V. So line V goes through 6, 6, and it's perpendicular to that. So if it's perpendicular, I'm going to take my slope and flip it and then change the sign. So it's positive, it's going to be negative, and the 4 will be over the 3. So let's do line V first. So we got y equals mx plus b. Plug in my point. 6 is the y, negative 4/3. 6 is the x plus b. Let's see, negative 4/3 times 6 is negative 8. Then add 8 to both sides, and b equals 14. So the equation for line V is going to be y equals negative 4/3 x plus 14. Line V. Cool, but that doesn't give me my answer, because now line W is parallel to line V. So again, what does that even tell me? It tells me it has the same slope. So this slope over here is also negative 4/3. And now we can do the same thing for line W. So line W, y equals mx plus b. The y is 10, the m is negative 4/3. The x is negative 6, we don't know b. Negative 4/3 times negative 6 is positive 8. Minus 8 from both sides. And b equals 2. And that means the answer to our equation is y equals -4/3 x plus 2. Whew, that's line W. That was a crazy lot of work. Can you see the bottom there? There you go. All right, cool. So expect one like that on your test because it's kind of cool. You got to do the equation twice, that kind of thing. All right, and then the very last one. Again, if you have questions on that one or something, just come during office hours today, and I can totally help you guys out. All right. Last question. We got a line in point-slope form. Someone wrote a decimal, which is a terrible mistake by somebody. And they just want to know what the y-intercept was. So the best way, I think, to find the y-intercept from here is just write it in slope-intercept form. So I'm going to distribute this -2. -2 times x is -2x. -2 times 1.5 is -3. And then to get it in slope-intercept form, super duper easy, just -11. And y equals -2x plus -3 minus 11 is -14. Over here, our y-intercept is -14. All right, that is pretty much what your test is going to look like. I would really like some feedback. We got these pods because they have microphones. Just really interested to hear if you felt like the audio is better on the recording. Just let me know. Send me a reminder or throw it in the chat somewhere. Send me a message. If it is, I'll definitely wear these all the time. And if it doesn't matter, if you didn't hear better, if you heard worse, I'll just go back to just talking really loud. If you guys have any questions, let me know. And good luck on your test tomorrow. See you later.